Heyo,
Yo, what's up, man?
what up?
I wanted to throw up the old Spider-Man. Spider-Man's there, but I didn't know if it was like them pointing. Oh yeah, it is them
Sure
pointing.
is. It sure is. All these goodies that we still just have on the back burner. Some other shit.
All kinds
Well,
of them, man.
Super Saturday, everybody's favorite show they never tune in for.
Super Saturday. Daniel snapping in the corner.
Beautiful.
I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Lack of fans means everybody should be out having fun.
That's right. That's right. I sure hope they are. I hope that everybody goes out and gets a fantastic meal like myself. That's why we're running a little behind. Had to get the goods, Texas Roadhouse.
Had to get the goods. I mean, it's a hopping Saturday. Got some NFL games on. I'm sure there's some sort of fucking MMA on somewhere because there always
Yeah.
seems to be MMA on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Like
luckily,
a
this
Saturday night
Saturday
ass whooping.
you got Chase and Shep on Saturday night as well.
That's right. It comes one time a year, and it's that time again. That time again. I feel like this year we're just going to be rehashing a lot of the shit we talked about last year, just because so many things didn't come out. you know?
Yeah, there was a lot that we probably talked on last year that didn't drop. A lot of different it's a lot different coming into this year, I feel like, than it was last year. Especially when we don't have to get into it right now. We can save it for later, but especially like on the DC side of things when
Mhm.
uh a lot of their future is still up for grabs.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Who knows what it's going to be like this time next year on our fourth Super Saturday to see, what's going on with all that.
Yeah.
Because everything that we're about to talk about could drastically change here just within the next few weeks.
Well, I was even just seeing, I think today there was a report rumor, however you want to take it, saying that what if season 2 was being pushed back to 2024?
Oh, well then maybe we don't need to talk about that. That was on the list of TV shows
Yeah,
reported to
so
come out this year.
I mean, we can breeze over it when it comes time because it could and could not. I guess that
But
one
you know
really
what?
just depends.
Good. I am not mad about that, given how What If season one is probably my least favorite thing that's come out of the MCU
Yeah,
thus far. I wouldn't be. I mean, especially obviously it was so rushed the first time around that they just aired it without one episode. An entire episode was fucking missing, which made the finale that much more confusing because we didn't get that piece of the puzzle. So yeah, take your time, Disney. Take your time.
take your time. But yeah, so I don't know how you want to dive into this one. Um,
Well, I figured since I have the lists separated, I say we. Well, you want to hit TV shows first because that's a little more sporadic, and then we can do movies after because I feel like that's the big one. That's what
sure.
people are here for. Um, let me find the list here.
We'll see how good my internet holds up here. But yeah,
Ah,
let's
here
do
we
T. So yeah, let's do TV first.
So currently with superhero television, there are a few shows um, currently airing.
Yeah.
A little holdover from the end of 2022. We still have season 4 of Doom Patrol and Titans currently going
Hmm.
on HBO Max. For those of you that are all caught up on that, unfortunately, I am not. I am behind on both of those shows myself.
I've never watched Doom Patrol really, but I am up to date on Titans. I don't know when they come back from their break. They did like a mid-season break.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, Titans is one of those that I
Ups
don't
and
know why.
downs, from what I
Yeah, I
hear.
don't know. I don't know why I watch it, but I continue to watch it. They got a compelling enough story, I guess. That's how like this one,
Mhm.
I guess that's why it's they've uh they've name dropped John Constantine quite a bit in this season.
That's
And
cool.
so I'm holding out that hopefully my boy makes an appearance in some way, shape, or form
Yeah,
because it's like, first time was like, all right, I can let one Constantine reference go. We're in the DC universe after all.
right.
There's, after a couple more, you're like, all right, man, we don't usually hear this names repeated like that unless they pop up. So hopefully,
Yeah,
man.
and given the changing of the guard at DC, that it's best not to get too hyped for things in the future because we may never see them come to fruition. Have
Very
you
true.
seen Doom Patrol at all?
Not outside of what I've seen. I think they were on the Titans show.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh man, that's just
not
bonkers.
I've heard it's really crazy. I need to check it out. I always mean to, and then I just forget.
Yeah, that's one I own season one. It was that good. I was just like, I that's one I'm disappointed that I've gotten so behind since, just because it was just such a batshit crazy. I personally, like, when I watched the first season, I'm like, this feels like DC's answer to Deadpool. They're just like, fuck it, here's our own rated R, just like bananas show. And from the looks of it, it's only gotten crazier since season
Yeah,
one. But yeah, they're pretty dope. Especially, right now Brendan Fraser's having a time with
yeah,
his comeback role and everything. But it's like, y'all obviously haven't watched Doom Patrol because he's been back. He didn't go nowhere. In the
right.
words of Nicolas Cage, it's his comeback, not that he went anywhere. But moving on to some shows that are coming up. There's only a few with actual dates for this year, it looks like. The first of those being The Flash, the ninth and final season on the CW, which is not only going to close out The Flash, but the whole Arrowverse altogether. And then it's all done.
I saw that even Stephen Amell's coming back to be Oliver Queen in this final season. So
Mhm.
yeah, they're giving it a good send off. From I'm way disconnected from
Oh, yeah.
DC CW shows.
I
Um,
I'm not even in it at all. Like, I've seen like the
I
first few
used
episodes of
to.
Arrow, and that's it.
So Arrow was really good. I used to watch that. Like I say, so there's a point. I think season 3 they did like a mid-season break where they left it on a cliffhanger of like Ra's al Ghul killing Arrow. So it's
Mhm.
like if you watch season 1 up until that point, it's a really fucking solid show. If you keep watching after that, not so much. Uh, and the Flash was the same. Like it started off hot. Um, but then they just watered it down with a lot of the relationship stuff and drama stuff and
The
you
CW
know
stuff.
yeah
Yeah,
so
it
I
became a
used to
CW show, yeah.
since then the only times I really catch up with any of those shows is when they do their like major crossover events
Yeah.
that they would do every season. I'd peep into those to kind of check them out and see what they were about here and there, but
Yeah, those always interested me, but I just didn't have it in me to invest in the CW shows like that.
yeah, like this season of this one, I'll probably after the episode airs with Oliver Queen in it, I'll probably check that out just because the man started it. I like Stephen Amell as an actor. I think he's pretty fire. So
Yeah.
fuck it,
I
might
always
as
liked,
well.
Green Arrow, the character. I read some of Kevin Smith's run on Green Arrow, and I would love to see him hit the big screen one of these days.
I
With
think well, there used to be talks of him coming in
Yeah,
the screen, so we'll see.
um, February 10th. It's a show I'm I guess I have mixed feelings on, because it is most definitely a show for children, but it's one of my favorite Marvel comics. It's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Finally getting her own show, but it is a straight up cartoon on Disney Channel and Disney Plus. Um, I'll probably still check it out. I babysit a 3-year old. It gives me enough of an excuse to turn it on and watch it. Um, I'm hoping it's decent, but just from the looks of it, it's obviously not going to be my speed like the comic books were. Um, but either way,
I've heard rumors that what did you say, Dinosaur Dragon, or is that what the
Devil
guy?
Dinosaur.
Devil Dinosaur. I've heard rumors that he's gonna be coming into the MCU soon.
Oh, see,
I
I'm with
actually
that.
But no reports of the Moon Girl so far. But they said the Devil Dinosaur at some point could make an appearance.
That would be pretty rad.
Oh.
Green Arrow and Hawkeye. I don't know. Your whole thing is a bow, man. I mean, hey, some people are really good with a bow. You know.
They're really good when they face against bow arch nemesis. You know, like if whoever they're going against has a bow as well, it's like really good. It's more for a story, but yeah, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
I don't need my superheroes to be like, all super powered and shit. They just need to be interesting. And
Speaking of Hawkeye, man, that's messed up what happened to the actor of
yeah,
Hawkeye, and
old Jeremy
hopefully,
Renner.
hopefully he gets back at it soon,
Yeah.
man.
Apparently, it always does my heart good to hear stories like this where the Marvel actors are out there like just doing good in the real world. Because apparently he was trying to help a dude out who was stranded in the snow, and that's why he was out there in the first place. So that's it's rad to hear. Does the heart good.
That's
Um,
that's
Also in February, um, Harley Quinn is getting a very problematic Valentine's Day special, which one would assume is probably coming out on Valentine's Day or
yeah,
around then. Um,
yeah.
that's another one of those DC shows that I thought was really good, but I'm super behind on. Um, they DC does a really good job on like their HBO Max shows. I feel like
They're good at keeping if you look into it and you like it, they're good at like keeping that consistency of that content coming on a yearly basis. Yes.
that's true. Yeah. And then the last two shows with actual release dates, both coming out on March 14th, is season 3 of Superman and Lois on the CW, and season 1 of a show nobody gives a fuck about called Gotham Knights, also coming on the CW. I haven't even looked into
Yeah.
this, but I've just heard people say that the trailer is just garbage, and I didn't even watch it. I was like, listen,
Yeah, it's
stop
just
with the
it's just
CW
not a
shit.
good it's just not a good it's just not a good look, dude. It's like out of all the shows that you cut, this was not one of them. Uh you got the Punisher, he's badass with the gun because he was like a Marine or some shit. What makes them so special with the bow? They were like big fans of PlayStation 3's move motion controls. I mean, Oliver Queen, as much as I know, is his story was for 5 years he was trapped on a fucking island, dog, having to
Right.
survive. And he
Yeah.
learned to survive with a bow and arrow. I
Yeah.
just know that because that's how his show always started off. My name is Oliver Queen. For 5 years I was on, but
That's true, and that's the
as
comic I read, the Kevin Smith comic that was it was his origin of him being stuck on that fucking island and stuff.
Yep,
And then he's
yep.
basically Batman with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, and as far as Hawkeye goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure just like the Punisher, I'm pretty sure he was like
He's a,
in the
he's a military
Marines.
man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna
in
say
some sort of
I feel like this is
military.
a bad example, Randy, because you could say the same thing about these guys but they just don't have a gun. In
Yeah,
this day and age, maybe that makes them cooler that they don't use
yeah.
guns.
No,
Fuck it.
but like that one report that I was reading that said that the What If was moved back. They did say that the what is the Secret Invasions is probably dropping around May is what
Around
they were
May.
saying. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that gets us into the shows that are allegedly coming out in 2023 that don't have dates yet.
Allegedly.
Secret Invasion being the first of those shows. I am hyped for that one. That looks awesome. Um,
Yeah, a good
oh,
Nick Fury story. Why not? You
why
know?
not? I think he's earned it at this
Yeah,
point. You know,
yeah, and a lot of people have want like that's another one of those shows that like I was saying on you know, probably a previous episodes when we've talked about the Marvel shows is like I like it better when it's what I will call a legacy character, one that we've got to see since the very first Iron Man movie or whatever. And it's like, yo, everybody's been wanting a Nick Fury focused sort of story. When
hmm
he was a main focal point, I think it was Winter Soldier, he was in there a lot. Baller
yeah.
shit, dude. I like
It
to
looks
see
like
me
we're gonna get
some.
more of that vibe too, that like espionage thriller kind of
Yeah.
thing, and I'm here for that.
And Samuel L. Jackson, yeah, you cannot hate on that.
And the Secret Invasion storyline is just a dope storyline, you know?
Yeah.
He didn't become a volleyball
I
super because he wasn't trying. Damn it.
yeah. He could have, but he didn't.
He could have.
He
He
should have made a bow and arrow.
spike of death. Just fucking spiking volleyballs on people.
What else do they got coming out this year? Echo, I
It says
think.
Echo. Echo is coming out this year, which personally I am excited for that one because I know, yeah, I love me some Daredevil, and anything that's gonna add to that, I'm here for it.
Daredevil, Fisk, yeah. I
Mm.
mean, yeah.
I'm here for all of that.
Again,
The street level superheroes of Marvel are like my favorites. Like whether it's the comics, the shows, movies, whatever. Like it's just what interests me the most. Probably just because of that realism of it all. You
yeah.
know, like it's a lot more relatable. And I remember, slightly off topic, but I remember when Daredevil came out on Netflix and saying to Phil, like, bro, like, can you imagine if this Daredevil and this Kingpin get paired up with Tom Holland's Spider Man, like, at some point? Because that would be wild. And now it's sounding like that's going to be the case with this next Spider Man movie. So that's a dream come true, long time coming.
Maybe so, man. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Fury, yeah, I
He's
do
on his
like
own
that
Fury
too,
Rolls.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. All of his, what the fuck were they called? The life model decoys that they had running around. But yeah, Echo is a cool character too. I feel like, you know, I don't know a whole lot about her in the comics, but it's intriguing. The
I'm just
deaf
interested
character,
to see how her and Daredevil communicate.
right?
I'm very interested in this.
Huh? What? Huh? Fucking. Anyways, uh, another show that I'm kind of hyped about is Ironheart. Um, Supposed to come out this year. I was definitely a lot more hyped about it once Wakanda Forever came out. We got our first glimpse at that character, and I really dug her in that movie. I
Yeah.
thought she was a cool addition. And plus, I think the internet nerds will finally shut the fuck up about Mephisto because word on the street is that Sasha Baron Cohen might be playing Mephisto in this show. And from what I've heard about it, it's going to be kind of like a technology versus magic kind of storyline. I'm like, okay, that sounds intriguing. So, but you know, these Disney Plus shows have been a little all over the place. So we'll see if they rein it in
I,
this
I've
year.
I've also heard the rumors that Marvel is currently working on two untitled Halloween special presentations again for this year.
Oh, I'm here for that. I'm here for
Um,
that.
so I'm sure that might be a thing. I've heard that rumor going around as well that they might rework some of these things they've announced as like shows into just
Mhm.
the special presentations, like a nice 40, 50-minute long special rather than dragging something out over an entire season. Like
Yeah.
Mephisto, like you speak of him,
Mhm.
I've heard that, which could be one of these untitled Halloween things. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I've heard that they said that they'd like to introduce him with his own Halloween type of special first before he's in something,
Mhm.
which is like, yeah, I think that's
Bring
a
on the
good way to
special presentations, man. I loved them.
well, I think that's a good way to introduce, especially when you're looking at like more villain type people.
Mhm.
So then when you get into a movie with this person, you don't really have to waste that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You can let them just be them from the beginning, and we don't have to spend that first 25 minutes of a movie showing how the villain becomes the villain.
for sure. I think Marvel fell on something really great with the special presentations this past year, because both Werewolf by Night and Guardians the Holiday Special were two of the best things that came out in Phase Four,
Oh yeah,
and it does, like, it's nice, it's digestible, it gets to the point, it introduces new characters, like, and I definitely think that's really good moving forward. Because to your point, like, a common complaint amongst so many people is like they just take way too much time, like with the introduction of certain characters. When it's like just introduce them, they're here, we know them, and now we can move on in other stuff. But yeah, so also we got Agatha Coven of Chaos supposed to
yeah.
come out this year, which who knows with what you just said, maybe that might end up being one of the Halloween specials now.
I'm not sure. I think that might be a full. I see people talking about that one being filmed right now, um, especially with like what side characters could possibly show up of
mm,
Hulkling and Wiccan, and
yeah.
so
There's definitely some interesting characters that could pop up in that show, for sure. And then one that we're definitely getting this year is Loki season 2,
yeah,
which, given the current state of the MCU with where Loki left off, I'm excited. I'm excited to get back into Loki, and see what's going down there. Especially, because I think I've heard that Ant-Man 2 or 3 is gonna play a big part into that, which I imagine it would, given how Loki left off. Um, so yeah, that should be cool. Plus, I'm ready to see Owen Wilson back as
yeah,
old Mobius. Just a good time, that show.
that would be
But
good.
and
Yeah, I'm
then
hyped for that. That'd be a good one.
allegedly, what if season 2? Potential, but fuck it. Uh, the other one that says it's coming out this year, which it would be dope if it comes out this year, is X-Men '97.
I could see that since they've been working on that for a while,
Hmm.
because I think that was only like a 10 episode thing.
Yeah,
So I could see that. I could see that one.
I hope that's not a show that overstays its welcome. You know what I mean? Like, I hope it just kind of comes back, gives us like a solid at least season, maybe 2 seasons if the first one's good. But like, don't just keep making fucking X-Men for nostalgia's sake. You know what I mean? Do whatever you need to do with it and fucking finish it up and move on. I'd hate them to taint. I'd hate them. I would hate if they tainted like the old X-Men. You know what I mean? Like that would suck.
Yeah. If they did, I think I would do 1 or 2 seasons and how they're doing it with the costumes looking like they did and all the old ones. And I think if they
Mhm.
carried on from there, it'd be like bring them up, modernize them, do some of the more maybe modern stories that have came out since the '90s cartoon. Get some fresh takes. But
Definitely.
I would just draw. It wouldn't be called X-Men '97 at that point. I'd just call it
Right.
X-Men. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Um, and then I'll jump over one here. Apparently, I've never even heard of this. Apparently, My Adventures with Superman. It's an animated show. Is coming out on HBO Max at some point. And then another big one that I'm sure people will be excited about is the spinoff of The Boys, Gen V,
Yeah.
dropping sometime this year as well. Which I do believe there is a trailer out for that.
Oh, that's
Um,
what's up. That's what's up.
it came out like a month ago or some shit like that, and so I would assume it's gonna have a release date before too long. Either that or the guy who wrote this article didn't do his research, just like myself.
Right. Um, I think there might be a Batman animated show that drops at some point this year too.
I actually think that may have gotten canned, unfortunately, because it was like if we're talking about the same one, it was like from the guys who did like the Batman and then also like the Batman animated series. They were kind of trying to bring those vibes back and stuff because it was like Matt Reeves, J.J. Abrams, and somebody else were all involved with it. And then with the
I don't
craziness
know
over
if
at
it.
DC, I think I saw something that's no moss, which kind of
I
sucks. I was looking forward to
I'd
that.
have to look it up. I don't know if it was that because the thing I'd like to say had been pretty far along, so it wouldn't. It'd be kind of stupid to cut it if they've already like made animation and.
Yeah, well, DC ain't making DC and Warner Brothers ain't making the smartest choices either.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But we'll I personally I'm gonna refrain from criticizing DC for a little while
A Superman
until
cartoon would be pretty cool, though. A Superman cartoon would be cool to watch.
I'm gonna let the new regime come in. Let James Gunn and Peter Safran do their thing. See what happens there before I start judging too harshly.
Yeah,
Because I trust them. I trust those two guys. I've liked what they've done so far. I think it's about time for a Peacemaker rewatch myself.
yeah, yeah.
But
So yeah, it's crazy to think that came out like a year ago.
I know.
It feels like it came out much longer than just a year ago.
All right, so getting into the good stuff here, the movies of 2023, and there's 9 of them. They're all pretty solid. I feel like I'm pretty excited for every single one of these. Um, except for maybe one. I'm a little on the fence about one, but we'll get there. The first one coming February 17th, which I'm hyped. I'm glad we don't have to wait too long. That
Yeah.
is
Well,
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. And
Quantum fucking Mania. That should be a good one.
dude, I'm so excited for this movie. Uh, I've really dug the other Ant-Man movies, and with the director saying that this is going to be like an Avengers level movie, I know they just announced the runtime for the movie today, and
It's like
I
128 minutes or something, 126.
oh, well, that ain't too bad, like a little over 2 hours. Definitely would have thought it'd be longer the way people were like hyping it up, but yeah, I mean, I'm here for it, especially when I went and saw Avatar 2 in the IMAX.
Yeah.
It was 3D and shit, and the trailer that they showed in 3D was the Quantumania trailer, and I was like, "Yo, if they show this in IMAX 3D, you got my money. I'm gonna come see this shit in 3D, no doubt. I think it'll be a good one. Plus, I'm really hyped for Kang. I'm ready to get the Kang train
Oh
rolling.
yeah. I think it is. I'm pretty sure when me and my son watched Black Panther in the IMAX, I'm pretty sure it said in IMAX 3D on the Quantumania trailer. And I would assume since Black Panther was in IMAX 3D, that shall be as well.
Right. I feel like some things come out in IMAX 3D and we don't get it. Like in IMAX 3D here, like we'll get it in the IMAX, but we won't get the 3D, which is kind of bogus.
Sometimes I think like even when me and my son saw Black Panther, it was like it would show one in IMAX 3D and one in IMAX regular, and then one in IMAX 3D and one in IMAX regular.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do that with it seems like they would with this one, because like they didn't do it with Multiverse of Madness. They had 3D
Right.
showings, but they didn't have any IMAX 3D, which is kind of bogus. Because that would have been dope.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they only get certain amount of download slips for a 3D.
Or however it works. But
I'm
yeah, I
pretty
think
sure that's how it works these days. I don't think they do discs or anything like that no more.
they get something. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a strong start to Marvel stuff for the year.
Oh yeah.
Strong start to Phase 5, and
Yep.
I'm excited to see stuff start coming together. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what Phase 5 is really going to be about. Is just the pieces are finally going to start. Like with Secret Invasion, that's a storyline that's been flapping in the wind since the second Spider-Man movie. I
Right.
mean, they've been teasing that one for a minute, so it'll be really cool to see everything start coming into play. Um, so then after that, about looks like a month later, March 17th, Shazam! Fury of the
Shazam!
Gods.
Should be. I
What
mean,
if we just changed just before everybody's eyes?
should be
Outed ourselves
if you like that first one, I would assume this one will be right on par. Um, Good old wholesome movie to watch.
for sure. I'm excited for this one. Like Shazam, I enjoyed that first one,
Mhm.
but it's not one I go back to often. Like anytime I have started to watch it, I never watch it all the way through. Um, but this one, I don't know, man. This one just looks so good. It looks like so much fun.
Yeah, it does. It does really look like fun. I watch Shazam. I always watch it every December for Christmas time since it's got a big Christmas theme to it.
Yeah, I do. I need to give it a rewatch. Go through some more of the DC movies. Bid them
It's
adieu.
it's it's solid. It's solid.
It is. It is a solid movie. Um, Low key, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like what kind of takes me out of it is Mark Strong as the villain in that movie. Like I like Mark Strong, and he's played some great villains, but like I in Shazam specifically, it just felt generic a little bit for me. I'm just like, you could have picked anyone else. Like I've seen Mark Strong do this shit so many times that I just don't give a fuck. But the Shazam aspects were cool. But that's what they say.
Yeah,
If
I
you get a
can
weak
feel that. I
villain,
feel that.
You know, they can impact it. Um,
Yeah.
so May 5th, they're just playing back and forth, and Marvel comes back with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I'm so excited for. Especially, I was already excited for it, but how well the holiday special did, how
Mhm.
good that was, like got me even more hyped for this.
Yeah,
And I told
trailers are
you
really good for it.
I was expecting to like bawl my eyes out at Wakanda Forever, and I got a little teary eyed at the end with the post credit scene. Um, but I think this is the movie that's just gonna fucking rip my soul to shreds because James Gunn just has that way of doing that, man. Like
He
he
does.
could have you laughing 1 second and crying the next. Like even the holiday special was 45 goddamn minutes, and he still got me, you know, to tears by the end of it. Tears of joy, but
He
still, I was just like, damn.
he's good at it. Yeah, and it's good. I think this will probably be the one of the best, like trilogy closing, for as well as wrapping a story up from that group.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm really hyped for it.
Yeah, especially because I've been hearing it's more focused on Rocket this time
Mhm.
around and his kind of story and everything, and um, I'm excited to see more of Drax and Mantis. Especially, I'm glad they got their own little adventure with the holiday special, uh, and that little bomb they dropped about Mantis and Peter as well. Like, I'm sure that's gonna play a part in Volume 3.
Oh
So
yeah,
the emotions are there. Oh, and Adam Warlock at long last talking about storylines flapping in the wind. That
yeah.
tease
He was
was
shown.
back
He
in
was shown in the trailer.
2017 was the first time that we were teased Adam Warlock.
Hmm.
So been a long time coming.
More
Um,
Cosmo. I'm with that.
I'm with that. I was just hyped Cosmo finally showed up. You know, the few Guardians comics I read, Cosmo was always a big part of them, and so when they kind of teased Cosmo in the first movie, I was like, damn, that's it. But so I'm glad
Right.
Cosmo's a part of the squad now.
Yeah.
Um, Quite possibly my most anticipated of these 9 movies comes out June 2nd, Across the Spider Verse.
The Spider Verse.
Oh man, the kid I watch loves Spider Man, and so I watched Into the Spider Verse like 50 fucking times this past month, and I'm sure I'll
Yeah.
watch it, 100 times more before this movie comes out. But it never gets old. It's still just one of the best Spider Man movies made, and the trailer they dropped for this new one, uh, you know, here we were thinking we'd see like maybe like 5, 6 new Spider-Man, and they're like, here's fucking everybody, just pouring Spider-Man on motherfuckers. So I think it's gonna be rad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be pretty cool. Um, yeah. I mean, I'm about as hype as I was for the first one on it. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's cool. I think that like when people was asking me about the trailer at work, and I was like, it just was a bit much, if you ask me. Like, I don't want to have to watch something a million times or be like all over the fucking place. It's
Right.
like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'll check it out for sure.
That's why I'm to a point in life where I don't even try with that shit because I know the internet's got me covered. Like, there's people who do that. New rock stars is watching this thing 50 billion times to let me know all the Spider-Man in this trailer. I'm not even worried about it. I'm like, I'll watch that video and let them tell me, hey, this is this
Oh
and this
yeah,
is
I mean,
this and
see,
this is
like
this.
I don't know. Like to me, I don't even watch the vids. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like I don't care. If
I
they're
don't
not
blame
the
you.
main, if they're not the main part. Oh well.
Right. I am excited to see more of the like main spider people in this one though. Like I know Spider Punk is going to be one of them, and that'll be
Yeah.
pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
And then
it'll be really dope.
uh, after that, just a couple weeks after that, June 16th, the movie that may not exist that has eluded us for so many decades. It is the problematic Flash.
I've heard good reports when the stuff I read on the test screenings for that
Yeah.
movie. Very good reports. They're saying like the last DC centric movie that tested that well with audiences was The Dark Knight. Um,
Mhm.
So they're getting the hype train going, and it's funny to note. I'd like to note that I believe they said that Ezra Miller was casted as the Flash, and the movie was announced. I think either like a month after or before the Flash TV show
Mm.
first premiered. And
Jesus.
now the Flash is on its final season, and we will finally, after that, get the Flash
Yeah.
movie that they've
Yeah.
talked to us about forever.
This has definitely
But
been a movie that I've been excited for since I was a little kid. Like, I've always of all the DC characters, like, other than Green Lantern, which we still need a good Green Lantern, I always wanted to see a Flash movie, man, and it just never happened, and it passed through so many hands too, like, so many creatives had their hands on the Flash that were, like, super dope, directors and writers, and just time and time again, these people kept disappearing and new people would step in. I'm like, this movie's never gonna fucking happen. And now here it is, we're almost there, and Ezra Miller's just been, a shithead doing all this crazy stuff. Like, I'm like, bro, are we ever gonna get this movie? Like, why does everybody like this movie's cursed,
I've
bro?
heard, like I said, I don't know, because it was interesting because there was a report, I think yesterday, from Variety or somebody,
About
one
the
of those,
executives being interested in keeping them around that
yeah,
much.
about keeping Ezra Miller around, and then James Gunn tweeted out like, "I don't know anything about Ezra Miller.
He
I
said,
don't know any
I don't
news.
know about that.
I don't know any news on Ezra Miller, but so you never know. Hopefully they can get their act together and keep being keep being the Flash because I think for what DC's wanting to do as far as a soft reboot, I think this is the movie that would be a really good jumping point for that
Yeah.
because you have him already going and being fucky with timelines. So it's like you got a perfect excuse for the end of that movie, and you could even be like, "Oh, this takes place at the end of Aquaman." Like Aquaman had already happened when this movie happens.
Hmm.
Um, if you wanted to go that far, and by the end of it, have a that's how I wish they would do it, but they won't. But then by the end of it, like I'd hold off the announcement of where they're going until then, and then be like at the end of it have like the Flash run back into a universe and just have like the titles of the first couple movies that are
Hmm.
about to drop in this new timeline.
Yeah.
uh but they've already made their announcement that they'd say it at the end of the month, so
Yeah. I know there are some people who aren't even like they've already said like as much as they love DC and all that stuff, like some people are like if they bring Ezra back for something else after this, they're just done. Like they're not even fucking with it anymore because like it just doesn't make sense. Like there have been people who have been canceled for far less. And this guy's got like years of like true offenses, under his belt. And like yeah, they need to I hope they get help, like, that they can get their, career back on track because 'cause I've always liked Ezra Miller as an actor,
yeah.
but, with everything going on at DC, like, I don't think there's a reason to bring him back, like, I think they'd be fine just recasting The Flash, and moving on, especially with what you're saying, with how this movie is gonna be and the soft reboot and stuff, it's just like,
Well, and it could
let's
just
get
be one
some.
of those things that they could just be like, listen, we're gonna put you on the back burner, get your act together. Maybe in a few
Mhm.
years we could revisit that role and then just
Yeah,
give the spotlight to Wally West or somebody else, you know what I
mhm,
mean?
yeah, give them
Because there's
time, like,
plenty.
down the line, like, if they've been better, like for a good while and they get into better graces with the public, then you got the multiverse. Like, there's no reason that you couldn't bring him back. But I know a lot of people are like, really? You're going to can Henry Cavill, but you're not going to get rid of Ezra Miller? Like, what the fuck? Which I completely agree. It is
I
baffling,
mean,
but
it just to me it all just depends, like I don't buy into what the trades say, but like
mhm,
if you do, I mean the trades were reporting, Henry Cavill was very aggressive in that he knows the lore of the characters and this is how they should be portrayed and stuff. So it could be an instance of an actor just being difficult to work with, and then, in his shoes, asking for way too much money to put up with that bullshit, and
Yeah,
that the studio was like, well, we could, and let's be real, like Henry Cavill, I love him, and I think he played a fantastic Superman. Um, but even then, like, you got maybe 10 years out of him left to play a nice, convincing, prime Superman. So
that's
why
where I
not just
stand. I just feel like they just need to wipe the board and just start anew. Like that's how I feel about it. Like I mean, there's some that you could cherry pick, I guess, like because there's not like the Suicide Squad that just came out and Peacemaker and stuff like that. Like I feel like you could still rock with those guys because they haven't really been. Well, I mean, I guess we did see like Aquaman and the Flash and fucking Peacemaker, but you know, there's ways around it. I feel like
well, there's yeah, no, there is, and there's like I don't. I think it's just about keeping what's sticked and just getting new in. If they got a new Trinity, a new Batman, a new Superman, and a new Wonder Woman, that could
hmm
carry you. Especially if they got some no-name actors that were very low on the list and signed them into a 10-year deal now.
yeah,
That could potentially be setting you up for the next 20 years if they played it right.
for sure. Alexandria says Clementine is excited for the new Ant Man to come
Oh,
out.
yeah, yeah, we were
Hell
talking
yeah.
about that just a couple minutes ago, we are too.
We are too.
We
Yes,
are
indeedy.
very much too.
It's almost
Uh,
we're just like about a month and a week away.
and the one
Um,
thing we haven't mentioned about The Flash yet, though, is come on, Michael Keaton back as Batman,
that's right.
um, is something I'm very excited for, so
Absolutely, as we all are, for sure. It is it is one of those movies that controversy aside with the actor, like I know a lot of people are really excited for the Flash, and it's still we're still gonna go see it. So, uh, so, Michael
yes.
fucking Keaton, that's right,
Hell yeah.
that's
That's
right,
my
hell yeah,
Batman. And he's back.
he's back, baby. All right, moving on from the Flash. Obviously, we had the most to say about the Flash. Um, the next month, July 28th, is a movie I feel like I'm a little more excited than Shep is for, and that would be The Marvels. Don't mind the date there. Did
November 11th, 2022. That didn't
I
happen.
miss it? Did it come out
Did
already?
it come
No,
out?
don't worry.
Um I'm getting more excited to it the more hype I see thrown out there and whatnot from it. Um, I do think there's gonna be some parts of it that I'm like, this is stupid, this is dumb. But uh overall, um it's shaping up to be a pretty dope movie, I think.
Yeah.
It's looking like it'll be pretty interesting.
It's funny because it is like Captain Marvel's second movie, but of the three main characters, I am the least excited about Captain Marvel herself. Like, Captain Marvel's a badass. Like, she's super fucking OP. But I'm loving. I can't think of her name. Whatever her name is from WandaVision, who's going to be
Monica
or
Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, that's right. I just had to scroll down. Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel. As much as that show, I enjoyed Miss Marvel. It did fall off. It did have that Disney Plus problem with like not sticking the landing. But I enjoyed the character, and I'm really excited to see her come into her own. But watching Miss Marvel was when I was like, you know what? I think the Marvels is gonna be about mutants. Like there was a moment in that show that I'm like, I think that's what they're fucking leading up to. I think that's what they're gonna do. And then there at the end of Miss Marvel, when they're like, "You're a mutant, you're a mutant, Kamala," uh, I was like, "Yo, I
I
think
don't
that's
think
exactly
it's
what they're gonna
I
do."
don't think it's meeting I don't think it's going towards mutants as much as I think it's going towards inhumans personally.
Well, I mean, I figured like what they were gonna do is basically like the Inhumans thing, but they were gonna make it mutants instead, just because they changed Kamala. But they, I mean, even if they did Inhumans, it'd be nice to see the Inhumans get
I
like a
think
fair
like I've
go.
heard I've heard some reports that um a good amount like well I was reading something the other day and it's just a this pure speculation, rumors. But there was something about like the Runaways um
Hey, okay,
being brought over and the Quake lady from Agents of Shield,
yeah,
which she's an Inhuman.
yeah,
And then that's when they were like saying, they think that the Inhumans, although maybe not named as that, not in the like in the distant future for sure, but not quickly.
yeah.
But but that's what they're leaning towards, more of that.
Which I would
Because
totally be fine with.
as far as I've heard from the Marvels, what it is, and I don't know who the bad people are in that, but
Hmm.
they're wanting the little thing she's got on her
Yeah.
wrist. And that's how Miss Marvel in that post credit scene is swapped with spots with her.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Because
did know
she's got
about
like
that.
the yeah, she's got the other one. So I think it'll be more, because as much as they would wanna um probably focus in on that, I don't think they will since it's more of a Captain Marvel movie.
It's a big one. I've always wanted the mutant type of comics to be explained better. I am not a super fan when it comes to comics and such, but I'd love to have a movie explaining the backstories better and also see how society reacts and treats them, which leads to them either becoming superheroes or villains, much like they've been doing with the new Joker movies and stuff. I agree, especially with the mutants. That's such a great place to do that kind of stuff. Uh, I feel like when the mutants finally do come into the MCU, I'm hoping that it kind of ushers in a new age of Marvel, where like the stories become maybe a little more serious. I guess. Like I don't know if you're picking up what I'm putting down here, Shep, but like I feel like the X Men have such great storylines, especially with all of it being like a big metaphor for like racism and so many different things of that nature. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, and I feel like some
I
of the
think
X
so
Men movies
too.
have kind of touched on that before. Of like,
They've tried to, because of course they've showed like Magneto's backstory of, his family and being in the Holocaust and whatnot. Um, and that always played like a big role into him because then once you know like that about Magneto, it's like, oh, well, now I can
yeah,
totally see why he's against humans and is all for mutant brotherhood and all this and that. And I
mhm,
know they showed Nightcrawler, going through the White House
mhm,
trying to kill the president, mutant lives, matter type
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, no, the X-Men is definitely one of those that can touch on, so many different aspects of life, and how society views things. I think that's why when I was younger, I really liked the X-Men
mhm,
because, race, like you were saying, sexuality is another
mhm,
one that they can put into. Um, they had people, like shapeshifters, so you can kind of get into stories of like body dysmorphia,
mhm,
or like you could even take a villain like the Blob and like, how does society view this guy that
yeah.
is, named the Blob?
Yeah. There's a lot of deep stuff there that I'd love to see him get into. The final thing I will say about the Marvels, like regarding the Inhumans, I know that like way back when we did get the Inhumans like TV show, but even before that, Inhumans was supposed to be a movie, and I was excited for it when they announced it. And then they were like, "Eh, fuck it, we'll just do this TV show," and like now it's like one of the most forgotten things that Marvel's even done. But I did get very into Agents of Shield, and I feel like they did the Inhuman storyline very well throughout the majority of that show. So I would love to see that actually like come to fruition. Plus, with what you're saying, there's so many good characters on the fringes. Like if they're going to bring in Daredevil and the Netflix characters into the MCU, I would love to see the Runaways, which are I feel like everybody who got TV shows like that outside of the MCU are some of my favorite characters from the comics, like the Runaways, Cloak and Dagger. So I would love to see all of them come over. I
Cloak
think
and
that'd be
Dagger would be nice to pop up in like the Spider-Man movie, you know what I'm
yeah, for
saying?
sure.
And they would be pretty good characters, I think, for that.
Along those lines of comics being like an allegory for things, Cloak and Dagger stemmed from like um, the crack epidemic. That's kind of where their storylines came from and stuff. So yeah, always cool with that kind of stuff. Um, all right, so moving on here. Oh, was Heroes the show that was canceled during the writing strike? Like they changed the writers and then the show went to shit and I lost interest super fast.
Yeah,
This
it
would have been,
was. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, probably
I think the writer's strike, happened after the first season, and that's why, like, the first season was really solid to that show, but then just went to straight to
fell
hell.
off. Yeah, yeah. So after the Marvels in August, on August 18th, probably the DC movie I'm also looking forward to the most is Blue Beetle,
Yeah, Blue
which
Beetle.
Blue Beetle.
Boop. Yeah, Blue Beetle I'm really hyped for too. I love me some lesser known, characters. Really hope they lay the seeds and tease that there's, another Blue Beetle around, somewhere lost in time, so we could get some Booster Gold Blue Beetle, uh,
The Blue
love
Beater.
going. Oh, uh, but yeah, no, I'm really excited for that. That's another one of the DC movies that I've been hearing a lot of really, really good things about.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm excited because I just, like you said, it's a lesser known character. I always dig learning more about characters that I really don't know. And this is up there with Evil Dead Rise as a movie that was going to be straight to HBO Max, and they were like, you know what, fuck it, it's doing well. Let's send it to theater. So, love to see it. Love to see it. So I'm excited for that one.
I am too.
Probably that and The Flash are definitely my two most anticipated DC movies next
Oh
year.
yeah.
Now, at the top of the show, I did say that of these nine movies, there was one I might not be so hyped for. I'm half and half. And that's October 6th. We are getting Craven the Hunter coming out from the old Sony Spider Verse.
Yeah, I'm so on it just because of, like Morbius and shit like that. But at the same time,
It's Craven.
I saw was it
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, thank you. I saw a recent picture of him and my boy's looking fucking jacked right now. So I was like, all right, maybe this
Yeah,
might be a pretty, because I feel like, I don't know how they're gonna do this movie, but I feel like they have an opportunity to go in like a more Joker route of it and like kind of have it be centric around this villain, but not really, involve a Spider-Man or, anything like that.
yeah, which obviously they keep doing, and I know we're not getting it this year, but like I feel like the Sony Spider Verse just keeps stringing me along, and I keep buying into it. I'm still like I'm gonna hold on until this all comes together. Like I'm holding out because like they're fun. Like the Venom movies are fun. Morbius was fun. But they're not the quality of other superhero stuff out there right now. Like they feel more like how superhero movies were in like the early 2000s,
Yeah.
the pre Dark Knight days. Um, but I feel like I'm most looking forward to Madam Web because I feel like that's what's really going to start bringing shit together. And who knows, maybe it'll be across the Spider Verse that does it. But either way, I'm a holdout. I'm gonna see what happens over at Sony. See if
Yeah.
uh, they got off to a little stumble and a rumble and a tumble, but maybe they'll
I'll
get
release
things going.
judgment for that movie once I see a preview for it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. That's how I've been feeling about a few things. Not a superhero movie, but like I wasn't sure about that movie Renfield that was going to come out, and then they dropped the trailer
That
the
yeah,
other day,
that does
and I was like,
surprisingly look really
okay,
good.
that looks
Yeah.
pretty dope. I'm here for that.
Yeah,
Um,
no, that one actually shocked me too. I thought it looked goofy as fuck when they were showing like behind the scenes photos of
yeah,
Nicolas Cage. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy filming? Like, this is gonna be stupid. And yeah, surprisingly shocked at it. I was like,
looks like a
I'm
good
here for
time.
this. Yeah.
Um, Although that is one of two Dracula movies coming out this year, and I'm kind of a little more hyped for the other one. I think the other one's going to be a little more horror centric, but it like apparently it's adapted. It's called The Last Voyage of Demeter, and apparently it's adapted from the novel Dracula, but like a small part of it, where Dracula was being like brought over on a ship, and like when the ship shows up, like to wherever, like there's nobody on the ship, they're all dead and shit. And so the whole thing is going to take place like on the boat, and the people who are bringing over like all these fucking vampires and Dracula and stuff. I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. Um,
Interesting.
Getting back on topic with the final film of 2023, it's Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, not the last, the Lost.
Aquaman. Again, yeah, that's one of those that again, it's like I don't really know too much about it. So once we see some sort of preview or some sort of something for it, um, but I mean, come on, if you want to see Jason Momoa without that shirt on, you're gonna like it.
Right, pretty much. I do love Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I do think he's a lot of fun. Um, I I wouldn't say I was a hater of the first Aquaman movie. I just feel like I didn't buy into the hype like other people did. Like I feel like people really loved that first Aquaman movie, and I was like, I mean, it was fine, it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't anything that special to me, I guess. So like, yeah, like I don't know, I'm a little meh on this Aquaman movie. Um, but like you said, like let me see a trailer first, and then I'll gauge how I'm
I
feeling
think
about
I
it.
think James Wan does a good job, like building the universe, showing the
Mhm.
underwater universe and whatnot. So I think if anything, it'll be like Shazam. It'll definitely be on par with the first one, and I'm
Right.
sure have some cool shit tucked into it that they wanted to do maybe the first time, but not the second one.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if this Aquaman got like a touch darker,
Yeah.
personally, I guess. Like,
Hopefully
if,
he'll lose that hand. Maybe he'll lose that hand
there you go. There you go. But that's the year. That's 2023 in superheroes.
in
But
the
like
heroes.
Aquaman in the comics is such a nerd. It's
He kind of was.
a
At
little bit.
some comics he was a nerd. Some of them he was a straight up baller.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, there was some comics that he was more like like they treated him like he was like Poseidon or something, and it gave him a cooler edge, in my opinion. So, like I
Yeah.
said, when he lost his hand and had the hook hand, I was like, all right, then
It's pretty badass.
it is. You
Yeah.
can
But 2023 in supers, um, obviously we're closing the show out, but you can still comment and everything and let us know what you're looking forward to the most, out of all of that.
what
I
was
think
your favorite of 2022?
my favorite superhero movie 2022.
Anything, superhero anything.
Oh, superhero anything. Oh shit, that changes things. Obviously there's no debate that the Batman was the best superhero movie of last year for sure. But I feel like my favorite one was um, Multiverse of Madness. I just had such a good time with that movie, and I watched it so many times and just really really dug it. I'm trying to think on what the shows were this year, because I don't think any of the like Disney Plus shows really blew my socks
No,
off
the
by any.
the like we said, the special presentations were really good.
Yeah,
Those
Werewolf by
those
Night
were
was
Yeah, those are
a
really
good one.
solid. I think my favorite, because it has been, even then, even thinking back at the Batman, but that just came out in April. It feels like it came out 2
Yeah, that
years
was
ago.
March 3rd or
Exactly, in
4th.
March.
Yeah.
It came out on HBO Max in April. Let's say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I would say my favorite this past year was probably this past season of The Boys.
Yeah. I was gonna say, to answer your question properly, if I had to choose just one superhero property that stood above everybody else, in the year 2022, Peacemaker, hands down, was my favorite thing in 2022. I did
Yeah.
not get to finish The Boys season 3. I only saw, like, the first episode or 2, but I was really digging it. Where's
I
Invincible
thi
season 2, my man?
It's
When the
on its
fuck are we
way.
getting
I'm
that?
sure that could be one that drops this year. That could be one that drops this year. I'd like to say it was what something I'd like to say it was taken so long I had seen at some point because I think they were making the next 2 seasons.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that and the movie that they're working on. I'm
Or maybe that
here
was
for
it.
it.
Maybe they were working on the season and the movie. So I like I said, I knew they were working on a few things at once with it, so that's why it was taking a second.
Yeah.
But yes, it should be pretty epic once it does drop.
But yeah, Peacemaker would be my number one above all. And favorite movie would be Multiverse of Madness for sure. It sure as hell wasn't Thor: Love and Thunder. Tell you that much.
I know.
Rehash
I
that
know.
from earlier this week. But a lot of this, reminds me of tomorrow's show. I'm gonna get a lot more in depth. Uh, Ain't got no time limit, so I'm gonna just kick it with the people, and I'll be talking the best, the worst, and the most anticipated of the year ahead in movies. Um, Lots to talk about, lots to discuss. So, if you ain't doing nothing tomorrow, come and join me. I'm gonna just
Come
be
on by.
rambling, just talking movies. Chase Scene Sunday. Let's kick it. So,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I hope it's super for you.
oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, everybody, that'll do it. I will see
Yeah.
you tomorrow. We will both see you on Monday with Ash Hamilton, director of Holes in the Sky. We'll see you then.
Yeah. Smooches and deuces.
Peace.